Baylor Scheierman, Anton Watson. We are making history right now. Do you know why? You do not know why. View from the Rafters has come up to Maine. This is the first episode that we have recorded up here in 5 years. So we came to you guys. We had to do it. What's being a pro like so far, man? What's the pro life been?
I mean, it's a lot of adjustments. It's a lot of travel. You kind of just have to roll with the punches. There's a lot of schedule changes, and you just kind of have to come prepared with an open mind each and every day. And it's been a lot of fun, though.
Has it felt like you're kind of like on call? You don't know when you're going to get a call to shuttle back and forth?
Yeah, it's you got to stay ready. They call us the Stay Ready group. Yep. So anytime they need something, call us up. And, yeah, you got to be ready to go in.
Luke Cornett told me before the season that they were going to come up with a new name, not the Stay Ready group. Is anything in the works?
No, we haven't.
It's still Stay Ready group?
It's still Stay Ready group as of now. We haven't came up with anything new yet.
Come on. We got to get that work.
Cook something up.
Yeah.
What have you guys like soaked in and learned so far, and being not only like around the organization, but you're around these great players consistently every week? Like you were there all training camp, seeing how they prepare for a season. What have you guys taken from just like being here and being around those guys?
I think at least for me, it's just, a lot of those guys have routines, and I think that's pretty important. I think that, regardless of where you're at, whether you're in Maine or in Boston, having a routine and sticking with it, especially with, the travel and the play, and just especially for your body, I think is probably the biggest thing that I've taken away just from all the guys, just having a routine and kind of just sticking with that.
Anton?
Yeah, I'll just say like their mentality, even Coach Joe, just how they approach the game, how they approach practice. He tries to bring it every single day, and they're never satisfied. They just want a championship, but they want to win more. So, they
a lot more.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of bringing me and Baylor in and giving us that same mentality. And the standard's high here.
Does it feel like you guys just got drafted like the other day? Like have these months flown by?
Low key.
Yeah, I'd say low key too.
I mean, it's been like 4 or 5 months since that happened. It probably feels like a couple of weeks.
Yeah. There's a lot's happened since those 4 or 5 months. Training camp, summer league, training camp, summer league, training camp, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
There's been a lot that's gone. So for sure.
What was the trip overseas like?
I thought it was pretty fun. That was my first time out the country. So
first time ever.
I've been to Bahamas, but I've never been out the country. Yeah. So going to Abu Dhabi is cool to experience that culture, and even just playing our first NBA game, it was pretty dope.
What was it like for you, Baylor?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. It was my first time out of the country as well, other than the Bahamas, and
were those both for basketball, Bahamas?
Yeah.
So basketball is taking you outside the lines of the U.S.
Pretty much, but it was great. Like Anton said, it was kind of our first NBA type minutes in the preseason, and it was just cool to go over there and kind of just be immersed in that culture and kind of learn new things that you don't necessarily know about until you're there.
Yeah. So all right. So we touched on how the time has kind of flown since you guys got drafted. You went through summer league, you went through training camp, another training camp. Now you've been playing actual games now. Where do you guys think you are now compared to that first day of summer league practice a few months ago, in terms of understanding what you're trying to do on the court? Because they flood you with a lot of information.
No, for sure. I think that's a good way to put it. I think just understanding what we're trying to do on the offensive, defensive end, the calls, the verbiage of everything, and now 4 months later, a lot of practices, finally playing some games, just feeling comfortable out there with what we're trying to accomplish.
Anton.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Just feeling more comfortable. We've been around the guys, got to meet all the coaches, and starting to learn the plays. And the more time we play on the court, I think the more comfortable we get. So, it's been good so far.
We're gonna touch on the coaches later because Joe is weird, and we got to touch on that. I gotta hear some stories about your conversations with him. But what I really want to talk to you guys about today, a little less about in the moment, but about a little bit of your history. I want to tell you guys I'm very jealous of you, not only because you're professional basketball players, but because you got the 5-year college experience, both of you guys, right?
Yes, sir.
What was that like, having that extra year and it kind of almost being gifted to you a little bit, because usually you got to get injured and have a red shirt to have that 5th year, but you guys got it through the COVID. We're going to talk about that a little more, but what was that like to have that extra kind of free year to be around your teams and kind of lift your draft stock?
Yeah. For me, it was nice because I got injured my freshman year, and then my senior year, I had a good year at Gonzaga. And then I had one more year. I put my name in the draft my senior year, and then I returned to GU. And then that year, that's when I kind of took off. And, you know, I was the man of the team. And, yeah, I just felt comfortable. I thought it was a big year for me. And I ended up here. So, you know, I don't think it's too bad to stay in college that long. You know, a lot of dudes switch schools. And
Baylor's got a smile like he enjoyed it.
I honestly, I like Gonzaga. That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was nice being at home.
Yeah, crazy story for anyone who doesn't know. You actually went to Gonzaga Prep.
Gonzaga Prep.
And then you went to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Are you like the first person to ever do that?
John Stockton did that.
Okay, so first person in like 50 years.
Yeah.
Not bad. How about you, Baylor?
Yeah, I mean, I love my college experience, and kind of like Anton. I mean, I switched schools. I was at South Dakota State for 3 years.
Yep.
Loved my time there. It was great. We had 3 great successful years there, and then transferred to Creighton for my last 2. But just having that 5th year was great, because after my 4th year, obviously had a really great team year at Creighton, but I didn't feel like I had a great year individually, and having that 5th year to kind of really hone on my
put your name in the draft too, right? After your senior year? Yeah.
After my junior year.
Junior year. Yep.
Yeah, I went through the draft process, and then that's when I decided to transfer. But yeah, I love my 5 years of college, and I'd tell anybody stay in college as long as you can.
I feel the same way, man. Yeah. What like not basketball related, like what did you enjoy most that we can actually talk about the 5th year of college? Because I'm sure you got some parties in here and there, but like what did you enjoy about like being able to get that extra year of like with the college boys?
Well, it was just the relationships, you know, it's kind of just, I mean, what, not necessarily college, but just life is all about, honestly, just the relationships. And for me, especially, you know, being able to have that extra year at Creighton, where like if I wouldn't have that extra year, I would have been at Creighton for 1 year. And not that I didn't build good relationships through that 1 year, but just having that second year, it kind of just really honed those in. And now like those guys, like just my brothers, and just all the memories we made on the court, but then off the court as well.
And it's a different situation, as we talked about. Like you transferred, you were there for 5 years. Yeah. You rose up with probably a few guys on the team for 4 years. Then you probably saw some new guys come in while you were, what do you even call it? Like a super senior grad student? I don't even know what you call it.
I wasn't a grad student. I only got 1 degree, but.
So what do you call that? What's the 5th year? You were a grad student. What'd you call it? I'm just back to play basketball.
I'm just here.
So, but your guys' experiences were different because you went to 2 different schools. You went to 1. Yeah. For you, like, what did you enjoy about being at Gonzaga for 5 years as opposed to, you know, having to switch places in the middle of your career?
Yeah.
Or deciding to?
Kind of like what Baylor said, like the relations I made with my teammates and the coaches. I feel like in college it's a little bit different. You know, you go to class with your teammates and you eat with your teammates. You pretty much do everything with them. So, yeah, that was super special. And then, yeah, playing in the kennel, like the fans are going to be there every single game. You know, it's going to be sold out. It was special doing that every single night. So, yeah.
Class is a key word that I want to ask about here. When you're in your 5th year, how much of class actually happens?
Well, for me, I had a lot. Not a lot, but like I had a good amount.
Even though you only got 1 degree?
Because I transferred. And when I transferred, I lost.
They didn't all your credits didn't transfer
over?
Creighton's
a pretty, high-end academic school. And so when I transferred from South Dakota State, the major that I had at South Dakota State, they didn't have at Creighton. So I lost.
So you started over?
No, I didn't start over, but like I lost a lot. So like I was grinding to get that degree.
Oh my God!
Shout out for my mom. So.
Hey. How many credits did you have that year?
So I don't know exactly what it was that year, but I know in the 2 years I had to do 48 credits. So
that's crazy.
So I was grinding.
For anyone who has not gone to school yet, like that's a lot of credits that you got to earn in a short time.
Yeah.
I was chilling. I ain't gonna lie. My last year I was chilling. I had like 12 credits. Each
for
semester.
The whole year? Or for the...
I think it was each semester.
And that's another question that I want to ask. Did you guys stay all the way through your grad year and like to the end? Because you guys were also prepping for the NBA draft at that point. So did you stay and like finish the academic year, or did you like move on and start with your agent, start getting on the court?
So I stayed. I actually did all my pre-draft like workouts and everything, like training before like the combine and everything at Creighton.
Okay.
So I had an agent and everything, but normally like, you know, guys go to where their agents are located and work out. I stayed at Creighton and just worked out there because I just felt more comfortable there. And with my schedule, I had a good routine and everything. So I stayed at Creighton. So.
Yeah, I ended up finishing and I went to Tampa, I think with like a month left of school, but I ended up finishing before, just get it out of the way.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's a good decision.
Professors,
get it done,
they
move on to the big stuff, right?
Yeah.
I kind of got an NBA career I got to prep for.
Yeah.
All right, so we touched on this, that like the whole reason that this happened is because of COVID, which it's crazy to think about. It was almost 5 years ago at this point, but you guys were both freshmen. What do you remember about when that happened? I know you were out with an injury, but your team was number 2 in the country.
Yeah.
You were 31-2. Like, we're thinking maybe a championship. So what do you guys remember?
Do you know
about?
where I was?
I do not remember the record. No, I do not.
We were. So I was at South Dakota State at the time.
You put me on the spot there,
Yeah,
by the way.
it's
I
all good.
appreciate that.
It's funny. No, I was at South Dakota State, and we.
I remember you were there.
Yeah,
I just didn't know you guys' record.
We
me
won.
be clear.
We won. Yeah, we won the Summer League regular season title, and we just played our first round in the Summer League tournament. And I don't know if anyone knows, but like at South Dakota State, you have to win the tournament championship to make the NCAA tournament. Like, you don't get an automatic bid. We ended up losing the first round. Got upset by Purdue Fort Wayne at the time, and so I just remember going home and finally having a break. And freshman year of college is a lot to take in, especially when you're playing sports. And so I just remember having that break. We had a week to go home because it was spring break. And then
turns out you had a long break.
halfway through it, that thing, it all broke out, and got the news that I remember Coach Hendo texted and was like, "You guys aren't coming back." And I was happy. I was like, we got a 4-month summer vacation. It was great. I loved it. But yeah.
Anton, what was it like for you guys? And not just you. I mean, as we talked about, you were out with a shoulder injury, right?
Yeah.
But for the team, I mean, that had to be brutal to experience.
Nah, it was tough. We had a lot of seniors too. We had Killian Tilly. He played on our summer league team. He was on the squad. Admon Gilder, Ryan. But yeah, for them, they came in the locker room and it was pretty down. It's their last time being on college court, and for them to just say, season's over, it was tough. So the vibes were bad after that, but for me, nothing really changed. I was injured. I was doing rehab, and I was excited to go to the tournament. Experience that.
Yeah.
Went to the conference tournament in Vegas, won that. So I thought we were rolling. And it was just a tough call.
Gets cut short.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I mean, I remember we were just coming back from, I think it was Milwaukee, when the league was like, "Nope, we're done." And it's like, wait, what? The NBA's stopping? And then the whole world wound up stopping. It was nuts. What were you guys doing during those months of isolation and all this stuff, all the rules that were going out? What were you guys doing?
Well, I mean,
remember coming off freshman year of college.
Yeah,
so.
I'm from a small town in Aurora, Nebraska, So not a lot changed for us living there. It was still kind of the same in a sense.
Was everyone kind of out and about because it's such a small community?
Yeah, okay. Everyone was.
So you didn't have to isolate.
No, not really.
Social distance.
Yeah, all my high school buddies were back from freshman, obviously freshman year. So we were just kicking it. I was just working out in the morning. And then golfing in the afternoon with the high school.
That's a good life.
Living the life.
That's a good life. A little different for you, or what?
Yeah, way different.
That's literally all I was doing for 4 months. Going to the lake, it was.
Now I got another reason to be jealous of you.
Yeah, it was great.
That's what
it was great.
We was sneaking in the gym trying to get workouts. It was.
Were they trying to keep everyone out? Everything was locked up and.
Yeah, everything.
You literally had to sneak into the gym.
Yeah, Gonzaga was locked up. We couldn't go there, and there's a gym right next to it called the Warehouse, and we would go in there, play 3-on-3, play runs just to do something. Cause we went to the park a couple times outside shooting on that double rims. It was it was pretty bad.
You weren't chilling with the boys and golfing.
I was chilling with the boys. I was on the game a lot. COVID, you had so much free time. Yeah. So you had to find stuff to do.
Yeah. So that's freshman year. It's kind of crazy that that's your introduction to college. Is the season stops. But it did lead to you guys getting an extra year. It gave you an opportunity to transfer to Creighton and play for 2 years. Opportunity to play 5 years at one of the best programs in the country. How do you think that impacted you in the long run of being able to get that extra year? And it's more training. It's more growing up, I would assume, mentally, all that stuff. How did that impact you guys in the long run?
I think it impacted me a lot. Just like you said, the extra training, the extra year to grow as an individual off the court, but then also grow on the court. It allowed me to kind of honestly become like who I was and where I am today. Like I don't think if I don't have that extra year, I don't know if I'm necessarily a first round pick this last year. So it did a lot for me.
Anton, did you feel like it impacted you significantly having that extra year?
Yeah. I feel like later in my college career it impacted me, like my senior and this past year, because like I don't know, I just feel like I matured, and then I was one of the older guys on the team. I wasn't really going out to parties, I was kind of chilling, and yeah.
So fifth year was quiet for Anton Watson.
Yeah, it's like
off the court.
you kind of like,
I would have been out every night.
I definitely had a good time on weekends hanging out with my teammates, but you're 24 years old in college. Yeah. At some point, you're like,
it gets monotonous. It gets monotonous at some point.
Yeah, you're trying to get out of there. You're trying to see the bigger picture, trying to get to the next level, and yeah, you just got to lock in.
Did you guys have any classes with freshmen during your grad year?
I think probably.
No, I don't know.
Like 23 or 24, and there's like 18-year-olds.
I don't know if it was my grad year, but I know my first year at Creighton, I had a lot of freshman courses because I just transferred, like I said, and lost all those credits. So
they're like, that's that basketball guy who transferred.
Yeah. So
Creighton's a small school too. I don't know how big Gonzaga is.
I think it's the same size.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So it's like 6,000, 7,000 students. So it's really small. So.
Yeah. So tournament time. You guys get into the tournament. Both of you, obviously, in your grad student years. You guys actually knocked Creighton out. What was it? Your actual senior year in the tournament? I'm pretty sure you guys played Creighton. You didn't in any of the tournaments? Okay,
No.
I must
never played Creighton.
I must be pulling I'm misquoting the information.
I think Gonzaga played South Dakota State one year.
Must have been.
I think it was my senior year of high school. Our senior year.
Yeah.
Just missed it. Okay. But you guys both get tournament experience, and like that, to me, when I watch, like it's invaluable to be able to get in that environment, to be able to play like at that level. How do you feel that might have impacted you guys of getting NCAA tournament experience, which you literally weren't allowed to do during your freshman years?
Just getting that experience is once in a lifetime. I think when you're a little kid, it's like that's where you want to be. You want to be at the big dance.
Championship game, by the way, if everyone doesn't remember.
Yeah, you want to be there, and it's a lot to take in. Sometimes I feel like I take it for granted just because our team made it to the March Madness every single year, and yeah, it's just those moments you gotta be in the moment, enjoy it with your teammates. But yeah, the crowds, everything, the energy is it's different, and it's definitely special being in those games.
Final Four is nuts.
Yeah,
I've been there as a fan once. I'm like, is this real? Like, I could barely see the players on the court because I'm upstairs.
We was in the COVID Final Four, so that was a little bit different. But it's still like.
Tell me about that. What was that? Because I don't remember. What was that like? Were there fans?
They had like cardboard people set up in the stands, and then they had like real
good
people.
Times. Yeah.
So it was cool, but it was in Lucas Oil Stadium, which is huge.
That's where I went to the Final Four back in the day.
Yeah. So it was huge, and it felt a little empty, but it was still like the intensity was still there. It was.
You said something that like you may have kind of taken it for granted because you guys were in the tournament every year. You obviously didn't get that experience. Yeah. So like how much do you value being able to get that experience while you were at Creighton? I
mean, I definitely valued it a lot. Like you said, I think, starting at a smaller school where like you don't get an automatic bid, so like it's a lot harder to get there. My first 2 years in college, we obviously didn't make it. Then we made it my third year, and it just felt different kind of at South Dakota State than it did at Creighton, honestly, because at South Dakota State, like you win your conference tournament, and then like that's like that's what you're working for all year.
That's like the big dance.
At Creighton, we're like trying to win a national championship, so it's a little different. But still, like the runs we had at Creighton, my 2 years when we made the tournament was special. And like Anton said, it's just like a different feel in the tournament. The electricity in the air and just the vibe is just is really special and something that I definitely loved playing in all the games I played in the tournament.
You guys got to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, so this past year.
Elite 8,
So
right?
my first year, we lost in the Elite 8 to San Diego State by 1.
Yep.
And a controversial call. But
not to bring up a sore
subject. But then, this past year, we actually played in the same.
We would have played each other if we won.
If we would have won the Sweet 16, we would have played each other.
So you guys screwed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We lost to Tennessee. So.
All right, let's get back to some Celtic stuff. We talked about Joe Mazzulla. Like, what's the experience been like playing under him? Because I don't know. Every time I talk to him, I feel like he's like interrogating me, like interviewing me, or like reading me every time I speak to him. And I feel like every day he comes to work, he comes with like this new unique perspective that he brings to the table. What was your guys' like first interpretations of when you met him and started playing for him?
I mean, I just enjoy like he's very blunt. Like he just kind of tells
That's
you.
a fact.
He just tells you how it is.
Yeah.
I really like that. Really respect that. And, you know, that's kind of something that I enjoy about him is just the fact that he just tells you how it is.
Yeah.
He's not going to mess around. He doesn't beat around the bush. He's just very direct. And I really like that.
I saw after a practice, he kind of pulled you aside and was it's probably not the first or last time that you guys had a conversation, but what have your interactions been like with him and what do you take from those conversations?
Yeah, like Baylor said, he's very blunt and he's going to let you know. Yeah, he told me, Baylor, he said, we don't like freshmen. I mean, rookies.
Yeah,
rookies.
Like, we don't like rookies.
So it's like, it's
okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
You know, he wants the best for us and he wants us to get better and develop. So, yeah, his mindset is definitely different, but, you know, you got to love it.
He's been known to say some like weird quotes in the public and even in practice.
Yeah.
Like what did Derek White was asked this in the finals last year? What's the weirdest thing he's ever said? And what did he say? Like, nobody cares, I think was his quote.
I was going to say, like, that's my favorite thing that he says.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
I love
Nobody
it.
cares. He actually was our first episode this season on View from the Rafters, and we went through a bunch of his lines. And I was like, what did you mean by nobody cares? And he's like, well, I mean, he's like, you ever been to a funeral? I'm like, yeah, I've been to a funeral. He's like, everyone's telling jokes. They don't care about the dead person. There's like, nobody cares. I'm like, all right, okay, interesting perspective. Are there any other like one-liners that you remember that he said so far this year?
I don't know if there's one-liners. I just like watching his interviews.
That's what I'm saying. The post-game.
You guys go on Twitter and like watch it after the games?
Yeah, my favorite thing that he was talking to the media and he was like, none of you guys are invited to my funeral or whatever he said. Like, I love that. That was funny. That was funny.
What else have you guys taken around, like particularly Jaylen and Jayson and those guys and the way that they approach the game, what they bring to the table at like both ends of the court? Because you could probably count them on two hands of like the superstars in the league who do it at both ends.
I mean, kind of what I said earlier, just like the routines they have, you know, they're very
Anything in
routines,
particular?
I mean, just like pre-court, but you know, before they get on the court, how they're taking care of their bodies. I mean, obviously, like it's a long year, they play a lot of minutes. So I think there's that, and then just like the details, they're focused on the details, like you said, on both ends of the court, and just being in the right spot and trying to make the right reads all the time. So.
Anton, anything in particular you've taken from those guys?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I notice is like just the way they can be coached. Like, you know, they're two of the highest paid players in the league. You know, they've been in the league for a while, but you know, they listen to Joe and the game plan, and you know, they do what they have to do to win. So, you know, that's something you can respect, and yeah, just their coachability.
I know they came in early in September, and you guys were all getting runs in before training camp. What was that like? Of like, I don't know if that's the first time you met them in person, but like actually getting on the court and playing against them or with them. I don't know what the splits were, but what were those runs like of like for the first time being on the court with JT and JB?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy just because, you know.
You're like, I'm here.
Yeah, you see them on TV all the time, and it's like you really here in the moment, and you guarding JT, JB, and yeah, it was a cool moment once they first started practicing with us.
What do you remember about those?
Yeah, kind of the same thing, you know, it's just a cool moment, you know, growing up, you know, watching them for the past 6 years, however long they've been in, and then sharing the court with them. It's kind of like that wow factor, but then, you know, you start playing and you just realize, you know, it's just basketball at the end of the day. So, but it was definitely a cool moment.
How'd you guys do in those early scrimmages? Did you let
it
be known that you were here?
I thought I did pretty well.
There we go. I like it.
Well.
What are the goals this season? I mean, rookie seasons for both of you guys. You've been having some time with Maine, having some time down in Boston. What are the goals like for when you're looking at the end of the season individually? Obviously, you want to win at both levels, but individually, what do you guys want to accomplish?
I mean, for me, I just want to continue to grow and get better. Obviously, you know, the goal is to work so you can, you know, find, you know, minutes in the rotation in Boston. But you have to understand the situation. And, you know, we just came off a championship, just brought everyone back. And so the opportunities there are probably going to be limited. And so just, you know, taking, you know, a step every single day, just coming to work every day, whether that's in Maine or Boston, and just trying to grow and get better to put yourself in a position to, you know, contribute when your name's called.
What do you think, Anton? What's the year looking like for you?
Just, I think it's going to be a big year developing and learning. You know, it's going to have to be patient. You know, there's a lot of guys in the rotation above us, but it's like, yeah, it's going to be a big learning year. You know, this is our first year playing in the league, so catching up to the pace, you know, just everything. Yeah, I think it's going to be a big year.
Listen, if NBA players want to develop, this is the place to be.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we do here at the Celtics. It's the pro. You see them in practice, right? Luke Cornett, like, these guys have come up through the program. This is a great place to develop. So glad you guys are here. Glad that we came and brought View from the Rafters to you up here in Maine. We appreciate you guys coming on.
For sure.
And do you want to tell all the kids out there, if you get a 5th year, like, stay in school, enjoy it?
Stay in school, get good grades, do the dishes, you know, help your moms out. Everything.
Amazing advice. It's amazing advice. Stay in school. Enjoy your 5th year if you get it, kids.
For sure.
All right, fellas, I appreciate you coming on. Good luck the rest of the season. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yes,
awesome.
sir.